Steph Curry staring at Draymond Green during a timeout in a 28-point loss to the Lakers. Has the internet asking one question: does Curry want Draymond out of Golden State? The situation between these two is one that goes back 14 seasons, and the events of the last month have added layers to this story that we need to examine. So let's get into exactly what happened during that Lakers loss, what led up to it, and what it means for the future of Steph Curry and Draymond Green on the Golden State Warriors. On Saturday, March 1st, 2026, the Golden State Warriors hosted the Los Angeles Lakers at Chase Center in San Francisco. Luka Doncic had 26 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. LeBron James added 22 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds. And the Los Angeles Lakers ran away from the short-handed Golden State Warriors for a 129-101 win. It was not close. It was not competitive for most of the game. And what happened during one timeout in that game is the reason we are here right now. Talking about Steph Curry and Draymond Green, the Warriors struggled to produce enough offensive power as Stephen Curry missed his 10th straight game. For Golden State, still nursing a right knee injury, and newly acquired center Kristaps Porzingis sat out with an illness. So Curry was not on the court. He was sitting on the bench in street clothes. And during a timeout, a video surfaced, originally captured by Instagram user obenson926, that showed something fans latched onto immediately. The video shows Curry in street clothes on the bench during a timeout. In Saturday's 129-101 loss to the Los Angeles Lakers at Chase Center, Green is animatedly talking to his teammates about something, and Curry could not look more disinterested. As Green yells and gestures animatedly, Curry seems to be staring off into space and nodding weakly. The clip was shared by Gin30 on social media and then reposted by the account Full Court Pass with the caption, "Steph Curry watching Draymond Green during a Warriors timeout," with that eyes emoji. And once that video started spreading, the narrative took off. NBA fans think Steph Curry is getting a little bit tired of Draymond Green, based on a video that made its way around social media on Sunday. Now let's be clear about what the video actually shows. Curry is sitting there, on the bench, not playing. He's watching his teammate address the huddle during a game where the Warriors were getting blown out. His body language, the distant stare, the weak nod, is what people ran with. The internet decided this was proof that Curry is done with Draymond, that he wants him gone, that the partnership is over. But what context does the video miss? Santos logged 14 points on 6 of 12 shooting, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists over 27 minutes during the Warriors' 129-101 loss to the Lakers on Saturday. The Warriors struggled offensively during Saturday's loss. The Warriors were getting destroyed. In their most recent game against the Lakers, a 129-101 loss, the offensive rating was 105.1 with Green playing 24 minutes. He scored 7 points and had the team worst plus-minus of -30. Draymond finished that game with 7 points and the worst plus-minus on the team at -30. That is not a stat that helps anyone's case. When you're sitting on the bench watching your team lose by 28 and your longest tenured teammate is talking in the huddle while the game is out of reach, how are you supposed to look? What expression is expected? Should Curry have been clapping? Should he have been nodding along enthusiastically to a huddle speech while down 25? The answer depends on what narrative you want to push. And the internet pushed hard. But before we accept that one timeout video is enough to declare that Steph Curry wants Draymond Green removed from the Golden State Warriors, we need to look at everything else that has been happening around this team in 2026. Because this didn't start with a timeout. This started weeks before that game was even played. To understand why that timeout video hit so hard, you need to understand what happened in early February 2026. Because the Golden State Warriors tried to make a move that would have sent Draymond Green out of the building for real. The Golden State Warriors have involved Draymond Green in active trade conversations. In advance of Thursday's deadline, league sources told ESPN, putting his 14-season run with the franchise in jeopardy. This was reported by ESPN's Anthony Slater on February 3rd, 2026. The Warriors were not just listening to calls about Green. They were making calls. General manager Mike Dunleavy and controlling owner Joe Lacob have maintained a motivation to get a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo across the finish line, and as part of that, Green's name has been involved in the framework of available offers to the Milwaukee Bucks. The target was Giannis Antetokounmpo. The price was potentially Draymond Green. To make the salaries match, the Warriors have to put either injured wing Jimmy Butler III, making $56.8 million next season, or Green, at $27.6 million next season, in the deal. Green has a smaller and easier to redirect contract, and he is currently healthy and able to contribute to a contender, unlike Butler. That's the math. The Warriors needed salary to match. Green's contract was the cleaner option. Warriors coach Steve Kerr said he spoke to Green on Monday about his uncertain future as trade rumors swirl. This is probably the first time, I would say, since I've been here, that his name has ever really been mentioned in trade talks. Kerr said. Think about that for a moment. In all the years Steve Kerr has coached this team, through all the highs and lows, through suspensions, through the Kevin Durant saga, through everything, this was the first time Draymond Green's name was in real trade conversations. Kerr and star guard Stephen Curry have always said they'd prefer Green to retire in a Warriors jersey, but Lacob and Dunleavy will be making the choice. And, as they try to rearrange their roster for the future, Green is being made more available than he has been in the past. Green knew, Kerr told him. And after a loss to the Philadelphia 76ers on that Tuesday night, Green acknowledged the possibility that it was his final game with the Warriors. He told reporters what he felt. I've been here 1-2 years. That's longer than probably 98% of NBA players have been in one place, a guy from Saginaw, Michigan. I don't know that it ends at 13-1-2, but if it does, what a f***ing run it's been. Green said the conversation with Kerr let him know the trade possibility was real, and Green even let his son know on the way to Tuesday's game that the Warriors might move him. He told his son, that's how real it was. The trade didn't happen. It became more apparent on Wednesday night that trading Green wasn't going to happen, because the Warriors opted to move Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield to the Atlanta Hawks for Kristaps Porzingis. The Warriors got their big move, just not the Giannis one. They got Porzingis instead, but the damage was done. It got nerve-wracking towards the end, but yeah, it is what it is. Move forward, it's not something I want to get used to though. That was Green after the deadline passed. Then the front office did something interesting. The Golden State Warriors may have reshaped their roster at the NBA trade deadline, but one name general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. insists was never realistically part of discussions, was Draymond Green. Amid widespread speculation, Dunleavy addressed the rumors directly and firmly denied Green was ever close to being moved. I'd walk that back a little bit, Dunleavy said. His name was not in conversations. And then Warriors owner Joe Lacob stepped in too. He was never discussed in a trade. Mike was 100% correct what he said. Lacob told Tim Kawakami of the San Francisco Standard. I know he got a lot of crap for that, and it did look defensive. But here's where it gets complicated. Green's own account painted a more complicated picture. Speaking on the Draymond Green show, the veteran forward acknowledged that Giannis-related discussions created real uncertainty. When you're not winning, everything becomes possible, Green said. He described conversations with Dunleavy and head coach Steve Kerr that, while not definitive, forced him to confront the possibility of a future outside Golden State. So who was telling the truth? ESPN reported Green was in active trade conversations. Green himself confirmed he had conversations with the front office about being moved, but the GM and the owner both say it never happened. What we know for certain is that the conversation existed in some form, and that conversation is the backdrop for everything that followed, including that timeout. Here's the thing about Draymond Green in 2026, that no amount of front office spin can cover up. The numbers without Steph Curry on the floor are bad, and not just a little bad. Stephen Curry has been out of the Golden State Warriors lineup with runner's knee since Jan 30. The four-time champion, who will be 38 in 2 weeks, remains the offensive engine of the aging squad, leading them in points at 27.2 per game. Curry has been out since January 30th. That's over a month of games without him. And in that time, the data on Draymond Green has been clear. With Curry stuck on the sidelines, Green has become virtually unplayable on offense. In the month of February, Golden State's offense has an apocalyptic 98.7 offensive rating with Green, and a blistering 120 mark without him. That's a loss of 21.3 points per 100 possessions. Let that number sit for a second. A 21.3 point swing per 100 possessions. That is the difference between an elite offense and one of the worst in the NBA. And that swing is tied directly to whether Draymond Green is on the floor. ESPN's Anthony Slater put it plainly. I think more and more at this stage of Green's career, offensively it's becoming clear that he's tied to Steph, Slater said on the Warriors stock report. You can't ignore that, particularly when Steph's not on the floor right now. They've just been performing better without Draymond. The specific game-by-game data backs this up. Lower back soreness kept Green out of wins over the Denver Nuggets and Memphis Grizzlies, during which the Warriors had offensive ratings of 120.8 and 134.3 respectively. Sandwiched in between those wins was a loss to the New Orleans Pelicans, during which they posted an offensive rating of 103.8 with Green active for 32 minutes. When Green sat, the offense hummed. When Green played, it stalled. And then there's the Lakers game, the one with the timeout video. In their most recent game against the Lakers, a 1-29 one-on-one loss, the offensive rating was 105.1 with Green playing 24 minutes. He scored 7 points and had the team worst plus-minus of -30. Now, Draymond Green has always been a player whose value doesn't show up in a box score. His career has been built on defense, passing, communication, and being an on-court coach. Alongside Curry, He has won 4 championships and served as the team's defensive anchor. His 2017 Defensive Player of the Year award and 9 all-defensive selections highlight his impact. Nobody is questioning what Green has done in the past. The question is what he can do now, at age 35, without Curry beside him. This season, Green has played 49 games compared to Curry's 39. Green has been available. He's been on the floor. The issue isn't availability. The issue is impact. Draymond Green has averaged 7.9 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 5.7 assists in 137 games for the Warriors without Stephen Curry in his career. Those numbers look fine in isolation, but the eye test and the advanced metrics tell a different story in 2026. At this point, it feels abundantly clear that Curry's floor presence alone dictates whether Green is incredibly helpful or glaringly harmful for Golden State. NBA analyst Mark Willard went even further on the Willard and Dibs program. He suggests that if Curry doesn't play, Green shouldn't play either. Instead of worrying about minutes, instead of worrying about that allocation, instead of worrying about whether he starts or comes off the bench, how about if Steph doesn't play, you're out? And when asked why, Willard pointed to the replacement. When Steph's out, this team is better without him because of the style they need to play. Not because he's old, because Al is 5 years older. But Al can shoot the three. Al Horford, who is 40 years old, spaces the floor in a way that Green cannot. When Al Horford starts at center for Green, defenses dignify his three-point shooting at 38.3%. Since his Christmas return, opening lanes for drivers and cutters also spaced beyond the three-point arc. Steve Kerr himself acknowledged the problem. The game is so different without Steph. Those two guys have built such a rapport for 14 years now. The two-man game with those two guys have been our bread and butter. And when Steph goes out, it really changes everything in terms of how defenses guard us, and it impacts Draymond probably more than anybody. When the head coach says it impacts Draymond more than anybody, that tells you everything. The Curry-Green partnership has been one of the best in NBA history, but a partnership by definition requires both partners, and when one of them is gone, what remains? Now here's where we need to slow down and address the title of this video directly, because there's a difference between a viral timeout clip and an actual quote. There's a difference between what the internet decided Steph Curry feels and what Steph Curry has actually said. And the record on this is clear. There have been a few times since 2012 when Draymond Green's occasionally rambunctious conduct tested the limits of everyone within the Warriors' orbit, including the team's prince of patience and prudence, Stephen Curry. Never for a moment, though, has Curry considered endorsing a Green Warriors divorce. Curry has been asked this question in different ways, at different times, over many years. The answer has been consistent. I don't ever get into that narrative because he's had some situations where people want to criticize and jump in, and he's obviously taken a lot of responsibility for things that have happened over the years. When asked how many championships the Warriors would have won without Green, Curry's response was immediate. Oh, 0, 0, 0. And the idea is, hopefully, there's one more in the tank. 0. Not 1, not 2. 0 championships without Draymond Green, according to Stephen Curry. Now in their 14th season as teammates, the longest active duration in the NBA, Curry-Green is a ride-or-die relationship. It goes back to Green's rookie season, when he proved capable of helping the Warriors in ways no one else could. Their connection isn't just on the court, they bonded off the court too. When Curry, a devoted Carolina Panthers fan, mentioned in 2015 that he and his family were flying to Seattle to see them face the Seahawks, he was reminded of their notoriously boisterous fans. Curry's response, "Draymond's coming with me." And naturally, when things got rowdy at the stadium, Green relished playing the role of bodyguard. That provided Curry with a glimpse of Green's commitment to those closest to him. Green himself has spoken about the dynamic that makes it work. During an episode of Network with Rich Kleiman, Green explained, "We understand where we differ, and we never ask one to be the other. There is zero pressure on me to do anything Steph Curry does. We understand that, and we carry that delicately." And Curry has described the balance between them. "I've said it since his first game, pretty much in terms of him being a guy that could influence the game, no matter what the stat sheet says. And he's lived up to that, and beyond his entire career, and as a true winner. But there are times where I need him to lift me up emotionally because I might not have it in the tank, and I need to kind of cool him off if he's running too hot at times, and vice versa." Green at first didn't think they'd ever become friends. We were just such polar opposites. Curry was baby-faced and understated, while Green was hot-tempered and loud. Curry grew up in an affluent neighborhood in Charlotte, North Carolina, while Green was raised below the poverty line by a single mother in Saginaw, Michigan. Curry was offensive-minded, while Green was a grinded-out defender. But it didn't take long for them to realize that their differences were wildly complementary. So when people look at a 7-second timeout clip and decide that Steph Curry wants Draymond Green out of Golden State, they're ignoring 14 years of documented history. They're ignoring direct quotes. They're ignoring everything Curry has ever said about this man, in public, on the record. That doesn't mean there aren't real questions about the team's future. That doesn't mean the numbers aren't concerning. That doesn't mean the front office isn't thinking about what comes next. But Steph Curry revealing that he wants Draymond Green out? That is a conclusion drawn from a facial expression during a blowout loss, not from anything Curry has said. Kerr, who has coached both of them for over a decade, put it this way: Steph, to his credit, is a stabilizing force for Draymond. And Green, who has had public blowups with coaches, with Kevin Durant, with Jordan Poole, he has never had a public falling out with Curry. Not once in 14 years. They're both born under the Pisces astrological sign, and their loyalty is reciprocal. At the heart of their relationship is the pursuit of victory. So where does this leave the Golden State Warriors? The timeout video is a moment. The trade deadline was a close call. The numbers without Curry are a problem. But the future hasn't been written yet. Green has a player option worth $27.7 million for the 2026-27 season, so it's likely that he will be back for at least one more year. That player option gives Green the choice, and if he picks it up, which he is expected to, that means he will be a Warrior next season. The question then becomes whether the Warriors revisit the trade conversation in the summer. What I think is interesting is they have now crossed the Rubicon here with Draymond Green. If he is not traded by tomorrow, it would not surprise me if these talks were revisited in the summer, in the last year of his contract, whether it would be in another Giannis offer or somewhere else. This is not likely to be the end of the Antetokounmpo chatter for the Warriors, meaning Green may still very well end up right in the middle of trade talks come summertime. The Giannis pursuit is not over. The Bucks still have Giannis. The Warriors still want a star-level addition, and Green's contract is still the most movable piece for salary matching purposes. But there's a bigger question here, and it's one that goes beyond one player. The Warriors have to decide whether they're chasing nostalgia or building something that actually fits 2026 basketball. This isn't about disrespecting Dre. It's about recognizing that the ecosystem that made him elite only truly works with the chef bending defenses. Without that gravity, Golden State has to look faster, more spaced out, and more adaptable. Steve Kerr has acknowledged the difficulty of what Green is going through. Kerr notes that Green's greatest strength, his self-belief, is currently meeting its greatest test. As the biological clock of an NBA career winds down, he's just been an amazing winner and he can still help us win. And Kerr has been thoughtful about how Green's aging process differs from other greats. Every player is different based on skill. I think in general, the highly skilled players like Steph tend to age better because they rely on their skill after their bodies fail them. It's harder for a guy like Draymond, who made his entire place in the league by being smarter and tougher and better defensively than other people. That comparison to Michael Jordan is revealing. Jordan aged by adding a post game and a fadeaway jumper. Green cannot add a jump shot at 35. His evolution has to be mental, and it has to fit within a system that is changing around him. So it's not as simple as Draymond just adding a low post move like Michael Jordan did. It's really about deciphering, all right, how are we playing now and without Steph and without Jimmy? What does this group have to do and how can I fit into that? Meanwhile, Green has pushed back on the narrative that he can't function without Curry. On the Draymond Green show, Green said, "People always try to come up with internet trends, but I think Steph Curry has missed far more games than I have. The theory just doesn't work. Cool story though. I've played far too many games without Steph on the court for the theory to work." And he's right about the games played numbers. As far as this season is concerned, Green has certainly played more games than Curry. The all-time leading three-point shooter has played in just 39 games, while Green has appeared in 49. But the on-court impact numbers remain a concern for anyone looking at this team honestly. It feels abundantly clear that Curry's floor presence alone dictates whether Green is incredibly helpful or glaringly harmful for Golden State. And with a 31-29 record and 8th place in the Western Conference, they would be competing in the play-in tournament if the season ended today. How you approach the latter stages of your career as a player is so important. I think Draymond's approach and attitude during this time, especially without Steph, where a lot of our weaknesses are exposed, he's handling things with a lot of dignity. It's not easy, especially when you have that kind of pride for being a great player. You have a night like that and it's tough. It's so important he keeps his spirits up. So here's the reality. Steph Curry has not said he wants Draymond Green out of Golden State. He has never said that. The video from the timeout is a man sitting in street clothes watching a blowout loss. That's it. The interpretation that Curry is fed up or done with Green is built on body language, not on words, not on actions, not on any reported communication between the two. What is real is that the Warriors considered trading Green. What is real is that the numbers without Curry are a problem. What is real is that Green's future in Golden State will be a conversation again this summer. What is real is that Green said, "When you're not winning, everything becomes possible." He described conversations that forced him to confront the possibility of a future outside Golden State. But the Steph-Draymond relationship, as Curry himself has put it, when it comes to seeing somebody for who they truly are and what they bring to the table, there's no better example of a friendship and a teammate relationship that can stand the test of time, because there's just trust at the end of the day. Together, they've powered the Warriors to 4 NBA championships in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022, with Curry earning 2 MVP awards during their shared tenure and Green cementing himself as the defensive anchor that made it all possible. They've combined for multiple All-Star appearances and created one of the most feared small ball lineups in history, the Death Lineup. The dynasty may be in its final chapter. The numbers may say the pairing has an expiration date without both men on the floor. The front office may make a decision this summer that changes everything. But Steph Curry wanting Draymond Green out? That's the internet telling a story that, so far, only the internet is telling. What comes next, whether it's one more run together or a painful separation, will be decided by the Warriors front office, by the market, and by whether Draymond Green picks up that $27.7 million player option, not by a timeout stare during a 28-point loss to the Lakers.